Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Barrypodcast. So, yes, I decided to launch my own podcast because I realized that vlogging might not be my thing. I prefer to live in the present moment and to have fun. So as you can see, guys, I decided to keep that filter because I didn't see anyone doing some podcasts with that filter. So that might be my signature, my personal touch. So I decided to keep that filter. So I hope that you guys like it and tell me in the comment section what you think about that. Also, tell me in the comment section if I should try to change my introduction or if I should keep saying the same thing. After all, this is my first podcast. So guys, be nice with me and just support and share and like the video. So why podcasting? Actually, as a matter of fact, I like listening to podcasts and I like debating about different things. So this is why I decided to launch my own podcast. So I know that I could have vlogged, I could have kept vlogging because I did 3 vlogs and then I stopped. But I didn't want to spend all my time filming some videos and editing some videos. So this is why I stopped. And to be honest with you, the reason why I did my first 2 vlogs is because when we first arrived, we had to stay inside to respect the COVID-19 regulations. So in order not to contaminate or catch the disease, we had to stay inside. And the reason why I did my 3rd vlog is because I got COVID-19 and I had to stay in an isolation room for 5 days and I had some time to kill, and so this is why I did a 10-minute vlog. But anyway, let's dive into the heart of the matter. So today I'm going to talk about my experience in the United States, what I liked, what I disliked, and what surprised me the most when I was over there. When I first landed at Chicago airport, I was completely lost. I'm gonna be honest with you. I felt like a lost child. I had to get to my hotel by subway and I didn't understand how to buy a simple ticket. The ticket vending machine for me was difficult to use. And when I got on the train, I was a little bit surprised because it was made of wood and it was moving at incredible speed. I thought that this train was going to derail at any moment because it was moving a lot. It was making some cracking sounds. So, to be honest, I was a little bit scared. The second thing that surprised me the most in Chicago was the fact that all the stores closed very early. So around 8:30 p.m., almost all the stores closed, and even like McDonald's or even some fast food restaurants. So I found that was kind of unfortunate. And also, you don't find a lot of people on the streets, and the nightlife was not very present. So that was kind of surprising for me. So after spending 2 days in Chicago, I had to go to my university, so Millikin University. When I first arrived, I was struck by the cold because I knew that this area was very cold because some students who went to that university last year told me that yes, this area is very cold, but I wasn't ready for that cold. The cold was very harsh. But now, thanks to that time spent over there, I'm no longer sensitive to the cold. So at Millikin University, I lived in a residence hall in an apartment with 4 other roommates and a dog, and each had their room, which I liked because I couldn't imagine sharing my room in America. So I was kind of glad to have my own room. And regarding my roommates, they were kind of closed off. At first, I thought that we would spend a lot of time together, we would have a lot of conversations, and maybe we would hang out. But they were kind of closed off. Maybe they were shy, maybe they didn't want to get out of their comfort zones because, I don't know, because many strangers come all the time and they are kind of used to that and they don't want to get to know them. So they weren't very welcoming, they were kind of cold, and so we would stay in our respective rooms, and the only time I would see them was when they went out to get some food in the kitchen. And actually, as a matter of fact, at the beginning, I was trying to be sociable. I was trying to engage them in conversations, especially the couple with the dog. I was trying to get interested in the dog so that I could spark conversation with them. and create a bond, but they didn't want to talk, so I quickly gave up, and but I didn't care because I was hanging out with international students, and so I quickly decided to ignore them. And even when I was coming across to them in the apartment, I didn't say hi, I didn't try to talk to them. Everybody kept to themselves, everybody lived their life, and that was okay, like that was fine by me. And so I was just going out and hanging out with international students, and with some other Americans that were a little bit more open. I didn't really care because when I was in my apartment, I spent most of the time in my room. About the international students, I met a lot of people. I made a lot of great connections. I had very interesting conversations, and the thing that I liked the most was to discover the differences in culture, because there were many nationalities. So that was a great opportunity to discover the culture of a lot of people without traveling. So that was nice. Actually, as a matter of fact, it took me 2 months to get really comfortable, because that was the first time I was very far away from my place for a long time. And so it took me 2 months to find my bearings, and to feel really comfortable in my new university. Yeah, because you have to know that socializing and making friends happened during parties, but the problem was that during parties the music was way too loud, so having conversations was kind of difficult, and that was kind of difficult to hear other people. And like you had to ask, yeah, can you repeat, can you repeat. And so this is like the thing that I didn't like at first. So that was the thing I was struggling with the most. And to be honest, I preferred the last 3 months at Millikin University because we had more conversations outside of parties, without the loud music. And so as a result, we had more opportunities to get to know each other on a deeper level. So that was better for me. So as for my classes, I really liked my courses I selected, because you have to know that in the United States, you can choose your courses. They don't impose courses on you like in France. So I chose a journalism class, a marketing class, a business conversation class, and a human resources class. And professors were very involved, and the classes were much smaller than in my business school in Paris. And the thing that I really liked about the professors was the fact that they were very involved with the students, and that the classes were much smaller than my business school in Paris. And I hate to say that, but that's the truth. My business school in Paris is really just a money making machine, because they take a lot of students, and as a result, the classrooms are full. My university in America, so Millikin University, wasn't just like that. So I could really see that this university, although the tuition might be more expensive, wasn't just a money making machine. The staff was very responsive, the administration responded very quickly, and the staff was very warm and welcoming. So honestly, I have nothing bad to say about the university staff of Millikin University. I would say that they did a really great job. So if you some people want to go to that university in Illinois, I really recommend that university. So now let's talk about something very important. As a foodie, I must cover that. So this is the food in America. So I'm not telling you anything new, but the environment doesn't make it easy to eat healthily. And I'm not saying that someone has a gun to your head telling you to eat junk food, but I would say that it is easier to eat junk food than to eat healthily. Actually, the cafeteria had an all-you-can-eat buffet, so we could indulge and we could eat as much as we wanted to. And as a result, I gained about 18 pounds in just about a few months. I think that was about like in 3 months. And on top of that, you have to know that when I went to Walmart, I didn't buy some vegetables or some fruits. So my diet wasn't the healthiest in the world. But in the end, I think that the last 2 months, I managed to lose all my weight without any effort. I just took less sandwiches, and the thing that I didn't expect was the fact that having all the food I wanted took away my excitement for food, and that was kind of a sad thing for a foodie. And I would say that it just goes to show that being in abundance isn't always a good thing. Now I want to talk about the level of insecurity in the city I was in. So I was in a small city called Decatur. So that was a small city located about 3 hours away from Chicago. So it seemed like a quite safe city, but it wasn't actually. In fact, right from the beginning, they told us not to stray too far from the university because that was kind of dangerous, and they even recommended traveling in groups because the area was not very safe. And sometimes when I was walking down the street or even going to the cafeteria, I could hear some gunshots because, at the beginning, I wasn't really used to it, and I thought that that was some people playing with some firecrackers, some people setting up some crackers, but that was some gunshots. So, because after those gunshots, we would receive some messages on our phones, alerting us that there was a dangerous event located in a certain area. So yeah, that was kind of surprising for me, but that's the reality over there. Yeah, gunshots are part of the daily life of people. So yeah, to be honest, I would have liked to walk around the city during the day or even at night when I wanted to get some fresh air. I would have liked to explore the area even more, but that wasn't recommended because like in France, when it's late and I want to get some fresh air, I can go out and I grab my earbuds and put on a podcast and go for a walk for just a few minutes or an hour. But over there, that wasn't possible. But well, that's life, I think being aware of your environment, it's very important. So I probably escaped a dangerous situation by not venturing out like that and not venturing far from the university. But anyway, about the places I visited in the United States, I wrote an article about my road trip. So I'm going to read it, so it'll be fast. But if you don't want to hear my article about my road trip, just skip to my experience in Las Vegas. So first of all, I want to give a big shout out to my journalism teacher because he showed me the ropes and he taught me everything from A to Z about journalism. So shout out to my journalism teacher. For spring break, my friends and I decided to do a road trip in America. For us, a road trip was the best way to visit as many places as possible in just a few days while being able to get around easily and without too many constraints. Onward to adventure was the first thought that came to my mind when I woke up the day of our departure. This was going to be my first road trip in America, and I was very excited. At 7:45 a.m., we drove off from Decatur in a Jeep Wrangler. That was the beginning of a great adventure. My friend drove because I had never driven in the United States, and after a few hours, we stopped in Memphis. We took a walk in Mud Island River Park and we stopped near the Memphis sign to take some pictures. We then went to the city center of Memphis and were a little bit surprised by the fact that the streets were deserted. In the evening, the Knicks were going to play against the Grizzlies. We had to see that basketball game. Even though we were in the nosebleed section, the game was fantastic and the supporters were pumped up. But at the end of the day, we all agreed on one point. The city was good, but it was not awesome, and a few hours were enough to visit it. Day 2, New Orleans. As a jazz fan, I was excited to visit the birthplace of jazz. After a 6-hour drive, I was finally in the city I had heard so many things about. This city is gonna be better than Memphis, my friend said. As opposed to Memphis, the streets of New Orleans were busy. As Parisians, we are used to walking fast, so we decided to try to walk slowly to explore and enjoy the city as much as possible. We took a long saunter through town and visited places such as Jackson Square, the French Quarter, and the city center. The next step was Texas. We were all excited to visit that state because there were so many things to see and do. We decided to hit the highway early in the morning because we had a long journey ahead of us. Our first stop in Texas was Houston. As I was driving, I was surprised to see the amount of vegetation that there was. The misconception that I had was that Texas was a desert area without vegetation, and it turned out to be the opposite. The Space Center Houston was the first activity of the day. I want to get the most bang for my buck, my friend said. So we spent 3.5 hours there to see everything that was to be seen. We also visited Buffalo Bayou Park, from which we had a wonderful view of the skyscrapers and buildings of Houston. My friends and I liked that city. San Antonio was next on our list. We did a lot of sightseeing. We visited the town center, the Riverwalk, which was amazing and beautiful, the Japanese tea garden, and other must-see places. Dallas was the same thing. We visited many places, but we made sure to stop at Dealey Plaza, where John Kennedy was assassinated. We were fascinated to see in real life where the president was assassinated. With this last city, the road trip ended. We were glad to have a car during spring break because we realized how huge America is. It wouldn't have been the same thing without a car. It was a fun way to see some of the country's biggest cities, and this road trip was full of surprises for me. Not only did it broaden my mind, but it also increased my insatiable thirst for adventure. In addition to that, I was able to go to Las Vegas, and honestly, I have to say that this city completely squeezed me dry. And in total, I spent about 2,500 euros, including the plane ticket, the food, the activities, and everything. But it's kind of my fault because I also bought two iPhones over there because I lost an iPhone in the desert. So yeah, that was too bad. But I would say that I really liked Las Vegas. I was able to visit the most famous and popular hotels, and we visited several casinos and played blackjack. But the thing that I didn't like about Las Vegas was the fact that they try everything to squeeze you dry, and people approach you on the street to promote an activity, saying it's free, but nothing is free. Like everything in that city has hooks on it. So for example, a promoter recommended a pool party saying it is free, but once we arrived, we had to pay $20 just for them to keep our bags, and then to reserve a table for 3 people with drinks and food. That was $500. So there are many little things like that put in place to extract as much money as possible from you. And but apart from that, I would say that the city is very clean and beautiful. The hotels are magnificent and gigantic. And honestly, if you've never been to Las Vegas, I really recommend going at least once. And by the way, shout out to the people handing out cards on the streets, in Las Vegas. If you know, like that's the dark side of Las Vegas. But yeah, that's every city has its dark side. So I won't say anything bad about it. So yeah, so to sum up, I would say that my experience in America was full of adventures, was one of a kind, that was full of twists and turns, full of discoveries and emotionally charged moments. Honestly, if I could do it again, I would, and I have no regrets. But I have to say that I prefer living in France. The level of security in France is higher, universities are cheaper, food is healthier, and the transportation system is more developed in France, especially in Paris, because I live in the Parisian area. Alright, so this is finally the end, so I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment down below, and share the video. And I will see you on the next episode of the Barry Podcast. So yeah, by the way, I forgot to tell you that the next podcast will be about King Richard. So I will try to analyze this movie, and I will try to talk about it and tell what I think about it. Alright, see you guys.